Mick Mills and Jim Barron are holding the fort there without half a dozen senior professionals, but changes were inevitable after last weekend's hiding by Sheffield United, and out go Tommy Mooney, Trezor Lontala and Nico Vasson. Ian Bennett makes his first appearance of the season in goal. David Burrows is back in favourite left-back, with Martin Granger moving forward, and Curtis Woodhouse, a half-time substitute at Bramall Lane, keeps his place. Graham Hyde's back in the picture too. He's on the bench along with Andrew Johnson. A few yards away, Julian Jurchin will sit amongst the Coventry substitutes. Roland Nielsen's squad almost back up to strength. David Thompson still suspended. Richard Shaw is injured. But Mo Konjic and Lee Hughes are both fit again. And Youssef Safri and Lee Carsley are reunited in the engine room. Jurchin's first appearance for 10 weeks is a real possibility today, but Jay Bothroyd starts the match alongside Hughes. Well, it's going on 16 years since these two clubs met in league football. That was in the top flight at Highfield Road, February 1986. That game ended 4-4. And David Seaman was the Birmingham goalkeeper who conceded the 4 goals. Cyril Regis and Alan Brazil were leading the Coventry attack. An awful lot has happened since then. But 4-4 again wouldn't be so bad, would it? Here's Nicky Eden. Curtis Fleming making his home debut alongside Steve Vickers, both of them on loan from Middlesbrough. This is Marcelo, back to Fleming. Now O'Connor. Sturdy challenge by Bothroyd, but he has been penalised. Darren Pearce is on the way forward. Steve Vickers is up there too. Eden in towards Vickers, and he timed his run, and that would have been a way to start his St Andrews career, wouldn't it? A goal inside a minute.
And it should have been. That's a great delivery from Eden, and all he's got to do is put his head on the end of that and stick it away. That is an absolute blinding chance for him. Beautiful delivered ball, right where he wanted it. Nothing to do but just nod it side past the keeper. Nodded it past the keeper, all right.
I think Birmingham City are quite keen to try to make the Vickers move permanent. Ironically, he was a man who Steve Bruce had on loan at Crystal Palace and who made quite an impact there. Coventry have the free kick now. Green and Konjic have gone forward this time. Carsley takes towards Mo Konjic, but Marcelo gone back with him. Carsley asked a lot of cheapo. And Birmingham City have a chance to break with Eden. Didn't have an awful lot happening ahead of him.
It's going to be interesting to see where Birmingham get their width from, you know, because that's a bit of a risk ball, isn't it? Oh.
Well, it's just the day for a goalkeeper to be making his come back from injury, and that's not what Ian Bennett needed.
It's about half a yard short of being a perfect through ball, that for Lee Hughes. Now, just to get back to an early point I was going to make, I just wonder where Birmingham are really going to get the width from. They've got in the wide areas Eden and Granger, who theoretically are both, although Eden's played an awful lot on the right-hand side here at midfield, they're both really flank defenders.
Some real concern here following this collision. It was Curtis Woodhouse who was caught in the middle as David Burrows came crashing in. I think his own player did half the damage.
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it looked like that was one of David Burrows' special challenges, which only Woodhouse appreciates.
Well, he's hardly moved that left leg, and as if Jim Barron didn't have enough injury problems. Just to remind you, John McCarthy, Jerry Gill, Michael Johnson, Dele Adebola, Danny Sonner, David Holsworth, Brian Hughes, Paul Furlong, Carlos Ferrari, and it looks like you might have to add Curtis Woodhouse to that list now. Stan Lazaridis, of course, unavailable because of his involvement with Australia tonight in their World Cup playoff in Uruguay. The team virtually picks itself.
Just wondering if that's an opening for Graham Hyde. He's been out the side for a long old time. He's had his share of injuries. Doesn't look quite so bad as we first feared, does it?
I think it was a little tender at first, but he may just be able to run that one off. Fleming's clearance didn't really get the job done. Safri plays it into Hughes. Just couldn't quite get the ball out from under his feet, and he did have options to his left with both Carsley and Chipo making runs.
I think when a striker gets it in this area, though, I think when the ball's in there, I think Hughes is trying to just open himself up enough to get the ball bending around the keeper's right hand. As you say, there's Chipo wide on the left, but strikers never see wide players when they're in the box.
I don't think Lee speaks much Moroccan anyway. Here's Burrows. Dealt with by Konjic. Edworthy to Carsley. It's a searching ball, and Bothroyd has latched onto it. Chipo has made another good run, and so has Bothroyd on the ball. Couldn't feed Hughes, though. Pers managed to pick him off. There is a flag up anyway. But a foul by Breen on Marcelo. Good advantage played.
Yeah, when he talked to the lads about the lad up front, Jay Bothroyd, they took from Arsenal, he's one of those, they tell you in training, he's got every asset, he's fast, he's got good control, he's got good ability in the air. His problem at the moment has been putting it all together in games.
Edworthy losing out to Burrows, and here's Marcelo. Didn't make the most of that, did he? There are going to be errors this afternoon. Top surface is very slippery indeed, but it's very quick, and it should make for a good zippy game with the passage better than that. Free kick to Coventry.
The other thing, of course, is the tempo of it. The tackles are flying in at the moment. I mean, we saw David Burris fly into his own fella, Curtis Woodhouse. He's just also flown into one of their fellas, and you just wonder, you know, he left Coventry under a bit of a cloud, and he'll be, he's got his chance, his recall today. I've just been wondering, he'll be out for it. He'll be up for it.
He joined Birmingham from Coventry summer of last year after 5 seasons in the Premiership. Certain Ron Atkinson signed him 2 weeks after taking charge back in 1995. Marcelo encouraging Granger to get forward, and Birmingham City have got 2 very solid citizens down that touchline. Here's Chipo, very hesitant. Woodhouse seems to have recovered fitness. Fleming came off Marcelo. Gary Breen, a former Birmingham City player, left here nearly 5 years ago. Burrows, Marcelo, Horsfield, I should say. This is Fleming. Turned away by Carsley. Fleming has another opportunity. Horsfield. Bothroyd just slipped, but Purse rather got under the ball. Still sporting protection on the wrist that he broke a couple of months ago now. Bothroyd. Chipo. Safri. Delorge. Good challenge by O'Connor. Vickers emerges with the ball. Everybody likes to tackle today.
That typifies what went on in there. Great tackle from Vickers. Great recovering tackle from Carsley. Obviously, local derby means a big thing to both sets of players and supporters. They also know, of course, they can't afford really to lose any more ground if they want to get back into the chase.
It's one of those days when you can't help yourself but slide tackle. Added ingredient of the local derby, and as Ron says, the necessity for both sides to try to reassert themselves in the promotion race. And it's been a pretty hot start. It's not a good pass from Bothroyd, seized upon by Granger. O'Connor, now Eden into Horsfield. Ball got stuck under his feet, but Coventry City hesitated in dealing with the situation. Fleming and Eden starting to get a little tandem together on this right-hand side. Horsfield seeing a lot of the ball. Offside against Hughes. Bit of a disagreement there between Hughes and Bothroyd. Both sides suffered just last weekend with players squaring up to each other.
Can't believe Breen's got away with that. He was climbing all over Horsfield on that high ball. That'll be an interesting one there. You know, they'll be wondering whether Gary Breen will fancy the aggressive stuff from Horsfield. I should imagine Horsfield been wound up a bit. Not the best pass we've seen, by the way, from not the best pass we've received this season anyway. But I just wonder if Horsfield's been instructed to try and rustle and hustle and put Breen under a bit of physical pressure. Conversely, I think Gary Breen might have told some of their lads that if you fly it into the box, Bennett's a great shot stopper, but sometimes has his problems with aerial stuff.
Konjic going all the way back to his goalkeeper, Magnus Hedman. Woodhouse, seized upon by Safri, clearance by Eden, one for Horsfield to chase. He went early because he was aware that Hedman was 6 or 7 paces off his line.
Yeah, I mean, that's good vision. It's not the sort of thing you usually associate Horsfield with, trying to score that sort of goal. I also think he didn't feel he could outstrip Breen. Probably thought Breen would have overhauled him.
One of the key contests of the afternoon, a very wet afternoon, Horsfield versus Breen. Edworthy. Carsley's offside. Well, David Burrows is competitive at the best of times, but he has been kicking his heels. He's been mainly a substitute this season. He's only started one other league game, and that was back in September. He's hungry.
Tell you something else, Lee. You go there again, you'll get it again. That's for nothing more certain.
Headed by Konjic. Here's Hughes. Just offside.
Yeah, that was a tight one. That was a tight one. I mean, looking at that, it looks as if Vickers and Fleming, with their experience, are probably saying, come on, we'll hold a high line. I'm not so sure that's so clever against Hughes and Bothroyd. I think they might have a bit too much pace for them if they can get onto a through ball.
It was just caught there. Darren Pearce stepping up. Here is Fleming. Dispossessed though by Chupo. Here's Bothroyd. Was just caught, I think maybe by O'Connor in the first place, but then by Eden. Delorge, Carsley. Clip forward towards Bothroyd, but the ball's going to pick up pace off this surface. Almost ran away. In fact, it did for a goal kick. Couldn't quite keep it in, Jay Bothroyd. Carsley would have felt that. Clash with O'Connor. Ranger getting in a challenge. Horsfield being manhandled by Edworthy.
That's what he's at his best at, Jeff Horsfield, accepting the ball into himself and holding it. Remember, he did it particularly well against Liverpool in the cup final, holding the League Cup final last season.
Pearce is forward. Burrows takes. Pearce just got a touch. But the best chance of the match so far was the one that fell to the other central defender in the first minute of the game, Steve Vickers. Eden.
Funnily enough, of the two defensive, I think that Coventry can afford to squeeze up the field higher, because looking at the midfield of Blues, they don't look as if they're going to put a runner through from midfield. And certainly I wouldn't think the two front players are quick enough to outrun the Coventry back players, certainly over a distance.
Figures only as far as Cheapo. Hall. O'Connor's header. Cheapo to his fellow countryman Safri. Woodhouse only as far as Safri. Away by Burrows. Bothroyd. Firm challenge by Fleming, on by Eden. Marcelo turning, but Green getting in a good tackle. Burrows. He's played behind Woodhouse slightly and checked his momentum. Horsfield though, Woodhouse has continued the run. Horsfield instead into Marcelo! Absolutely free to pick his spot. Coventry City's marking non-existent, and Marcelo gives Birmingham City the lead with 17 minutes gone. 7 goals in 11 league appearances this season.
We just saw the cross there go in. Was he not offside? Was it marginal? But what it was at the end of some beautiful passing from Birmingham. Great finish, great tucked away header. But the passing that led up to it, there was Burrows involved, Woodhouse involved, and then Horsfield at the end of it. But it was certainly a goal from the best move of the match for me.
Well, Gary Breen's first reaction was to look towards the assistant on the near side. He clearly felt that he had caught Marcelo out. There was a good couple of yards between them.
There's no question when he finished up in an offside position, but it's just one of those, did he go as the ball was in flight? Very much a touch and go decision, I would have felt that.
But Marcelo has now scored half a dozen goals in 8 games since McNuss and Jim Barron assumed control. It has been a real bonus for the makeshift management team. And that one was set up by his co-striker. Now, where was he when he played? I think level, don't you? I think he deserves the benefit of the doubt there.
I tell you what, that's a good header, a good move. I think,
there's a chance to Purse.
I think most referees might give it. Most lines might have flagged offside there.
There's a problem inside the penalty area because Gary Breen is down injured and seems to be in considerable pain. Darren Purse had the opportunity. Cheapo actually defended very well. I'm not quite sure how Breen got injured. It just seemed to be Purse's follow-through.
The only thing you can think of is whether he's twisted something. There didn't seem to be any real heavy physical contact there. Whether his ankles give way under him or something like that.
Well, they'll give him as much chance as they can because young Callum Davenport, who did make his debut alongside Breen against Burnley last weekend, is the alternative.
His body language doesn't suggest he's going to come back on, does it?
Tension continuing, and Coventry continuing with 10 men and Carsley alongside Konjic at the heart of their defence now. Eden. Horsfield. Ready to take on Marcus Hall. They're both pulling at each other's shirts. Hall apparently had the bigger handful.
Done that very well in the early stage of the game, Horsfield. He's shown down the channels, and when the ball's been played in there with any quality, he's held it in there. Now, these two worked a great little clever free kick in the first minute that nearly led to Vickers scoring. I've got a feeling we're going to see the big left-footed one going here, though.
Breen wants to resume, but he's being told to wait. Coventry haven't quite dealt with the free kick as yet, but Woodhouse's volley is a little wild, and now Breen can come back on.
I must admit, that surprised me. He's coming on limping at the moment, but the way he went down and the way he came off, he didn't give me the signs he was going to come back on.
Good ball from Hall, and good control from Bothroyd too. Hurst jumping in and knocking the ball against Joe Bothroyd. It's a goal kick. It's to his knee, didn't it?
But unlucky there, Bothroyd. I thought for a minute he teased Pearce in enough, and then he was going to take him on, and with him lying down on the floor, he'd been in a great position.
Marcelo's 17th minute header is the difference. Here is the goal scorer, Eden. Horsfield is onside. Charged down by Konjic. Eden. Granger waiting at the far post and putting Headman under pressure. Playing ahead of David Burrows in the left of midfield today, Martin Granger. Here is Burrows. Ian Bennett hasn't seen an awful lot of action on his return to the Birmingham team. Cheaper though down to Delorge.